morning, Jess. This is me. I'm just going over your homework assignment 6 and 7. So this one is the plan comparison. I'm going to go ahead and look at the APA tables first. So there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 1, 2, 3, 4 different groups here, right? And numbers and the means, etc., etc. Confidence intervals, you see that. So the confidence interval this is where they think the true mean excuse me, for the placebo effect is somewhere between 3.3 and about 5. That's what the confidence interval means. They all mean the same thing. They think it's between these range of numbers. Okay, so, and don't need that. So it did not violate the assumption of homogeneity of variance according to the Levene's test. Yes. There's our between groups scores. So we had an overall omnibus F for the whole groups before we do the plan comparison. So that's what the computer does. So this is telling me that you're comparing the placebo to all three other ones. This one is from low dose to medium dose and high to medium. So this is spot on so far. And these are the comparisons or contrasts. And there's the t-scores. And there's the degrees of freedom. And then they tell you which ones are significant over here. So the first contrast is, the third one is, and the second one is not. So that's about it. Let me go look at your write-up. Okay, there are a few things I want to point out to you. Please hold. Okay, first of all, I think it was a spell check error. You had the word vice in here. It should be versus. And then you did mention that there was a significance right there, right? A significant difference, but then you did not write out the T parentheses, blah, 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 blah. So keep that in mind. Whenever you say the word significant, write out the test, right? This was a T test, the degrees of freedom, the actual test statistic, and then its probability value, whether it's less than 0.05 or not. Okay, so again, you don't have to do that when it's not significant. But when it is significant, you do have to put in the APA required minimum to put in there. Okay, and then you had vice there again. And then back here, it says the data results indicated that the drug does affect cognition scores. Okay, you got to be real clear here. What does the drug affect? It affects the cognition scores. That was the DV, right? Was the cognition scores. So, and then the more drug they got, the higher their cog scores, except for between the medium and low. So this one was pretty darn close to spot on. So just remember these little changes that I'm giving you here. Now I'm going to look at your within group. This is homework number 7, within group ANOVA. Okay, let me look at your tables first. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different measurements, right? All at different times. And here's all your means and standard deviations and your sample size. Very good. So multivariate test, that's something different. We really don't need to look at that. We could have looked at Wilks Lambda, which is pretty darn high, right? It's 98%. So we're going to have a significant difference in there. So act surprised. And your test of sphericity, right? That's your assumption. It's one of the assumptions of a within group ANOVA repeated measures is sphericity. And you did not violate that. That's good. And we don't need that. Don't need that. Within subject effects. Again, this isn't really, let's see, this is the box we use to figure out which F score we're going to use in our report. Okay, so this is the within subject ANOVA box, right? We're assuming sphericity, which we kind of proved. And this is the F you're going to report. Okay, so it's 50.9-ish, and degrees of freedom is 5, right? That's the number of measurements minus 1. So there were 6 measurements minus 1. That's 5. Okay, that part's good. And power was practically perfect. Eta squared was around 90%. So that means that your test is a very, very strong test. And we don't need this one right here. This one is where the computer is testing to see what kind of trend the data fits. And we are assuming it's linear, and this agrees that the data fits a linear format. And that's a little bit more advanced than what I'm trying to teach here. Don't need that, don't need that. And we're not doing a between subject, so we don't care about that. And we don't need estimated marginal means. And here are the means of the data. Right. So the more training that was applied, the fewer number of complaints came in. So this is, a good picture of what's going on. So now let me go back up to your write-up. Okay. Hold on. Okay, here are my comments again. Your SPS is practically perfect, which is the important part. I'm very happy that you are getting SPSS. But now the write-ups, and because I'm a math guy and a statistics guy, I probably don't emphasize this as much as I probably should. But when you go to write your dissertation, you're gonna have to get this spot on, or somebody's gonna kick it back out at you. But so the only changes I suggest were the number of complaints was measured beforehand, right? We got to make it as easy to understand as possible. So we measured the number of complaints before the treatment or the training started, and then for each week during a 4-week period. And the data did support a significant difference. So it's the same thing I said last time. Whenever you say the word significant difference, you have to put in what test you use, and an F test comes from an ANOVA. 5 degrees of freedom, that means you have 6 different measurement times groups, and 30 people, that means you have 6 people in each group. Okay, so this tells you how many different times it was measured, how many people were in it. And this is your F score, right? And it is in significance level, which is less than 0.05. And then that was good that you added that the partial eta squared being almost 90%. Okay, so that is really good. But that's it. It looks really, really good. Thank you so much. I'm going to send everybody out what I expect to do this weekend. I know spring break's here, but I'll send that out here in a few minutes. But that's it. MGZ.